Okay, so welcome to part 3 of the Not So Satanic Temple. I don't know if you guys listened to the whole thing. Definitely want to say thank you for sticking it all the way out. But in conclusion, I'm wondering if you guys came to the same conclusions that I did. That pretty much this is all just bullshit, okay? I might go through and break down part by part, but I mean, like, if you just listen to it, at the end of the day, it's just bullshit after bullshit. Like, listen to the response when I'm speaking about, like, why the COS feels the way they do. And it's just like, oh yeah, I'd be pretty pissed off too. I've been doing something for 40, 50 years and a bunch of kids come on around and say it's something different. And that's exactly what the fuck they did. Okay, but the Satanic Temple has no authority. They did not codify the religion of Satanism. They're just simply jumping on a bandwagon. And they're not even really jumping on the bandwagon. It's pretty much like they just made it some fucking old kit car knockoff and they're trying to like steal Anton LaVey's thunder, if you will. Now, and by saying things like, oh, there's sheep eat a lot of grass. I'm not fucking here to eat grass, okay? And if you're a Satanist, you shouldn't be either. We have rules about this shit. Solipsism, herd mentality. For one, you're just dumb if you think that you're gonna change the world. Satanic Temple ain't gonna change shit, okay? They might get a little law passed here or there, but they're not changing the world, okay? People are still gonna hate Satanists. They're still gonna be Christians. They're still gonna be idiots. And from the sounds of it, it sounds like the Satanic Temple is fucking full of them, okay? It's very smartly said, but I mean, come on. I can't even hardly believe that these people would believe this shit themselves. I don't even think that's the issue. I think they just don't give a fuck. Because look, how many people are buying into this shit? Now, of course, these are also the same idiots who are buying into fucking the herd. These are not Satanists. Satanists, you're a fucking wolf. You don't need a herd. I don't need a pack of people nodding their head along in agreement with me to make me feel better. And Kevin Soling, whatever the fuck ever, and them, like, they're just using these people, and that's why they'll accept anybody. It's like the army. The army don't give a fuck about you if you're a soldier. They just want you to join up so that to have people to do their bidding. And that is what it is. It's an army of idiots. I'm sorry, nothing against this guy. Dominic seems like a nice guy, but he's knowledgeable. He knows what the fuck he's doing. And he knows that shit ain't Satanism. But he just doesn't, for some reason, he doesn't want to accept it. Like, yes, Satanism was not for you. And you don't want to be a Christian, and being an atheist is bored, so you want to start your own club. And that's great. But yeah, no, we're not sharing the title, okay? Because, for one, you guys completely go against the core principles of Satanism. Like I said, it's a sheep-minded herd mentality for people who just don't have the capability to think for themselves or to stand on their own. And you know what? Like, I might not be doing great, but I'm responsible for myself. I'm doing what I do on my own. And if somebody wants to help me, it's going to be because they believe in what I'm doing and they want to, not because some organization told them to, or, I'm not sacrificing none of my fucking Satanism for nobody. Not even the Church of Satan, okay? Like, we discussed what makes a Satanist in episode 1. And if you listen to episode 1, it's not even that long. I think it's like 12 minutes. I clearly define what determines if you're a Satanist or not. And it has nothing to do with an email list or your political beliefs, any of that shit. It doesn't matter if you are a member of the Church of Satan or if you signed up and paid your fees or are accepted. Like, them dudes could not even fucking like me, honestly. And it wouldn't make 2 fucks to my Satanism. That's the nature of Satanism, okay? You don't need confirmation from others to be, what you are. But we do also believe in honesty, especially with the self. And if I didn't agree with the teachings of Anton LaVey, I just wouldn't be calling myself a Satanist. I wouldn't. Just so turns out that I do. And matter of fact, it took me several months after I discovered Satanism before I accepted the mantle, to be sure, because I had to learn everything, take it in, think about how this applies to me, and is this who I am? And it just couldn't be denied. And at some point, when the timing felt right, I just came out with, here I am. I am a Satanist. That's the way it should be. It's a personal religion. It's not meant to make you feel better by giving you a big group hug and telling you, no, that's all bullshit, okay? And I mean, you listen to responses about asking about the kids. It's like, well, sure, we put them in danger because, yeah, there's a bunch of lunatics out there who will harm kids. I mean, look, we have school shootings every fucking day in America. People don't give a fuck about hurting kids in America. We make a pastime out of it, a fucking sport. And they don't give a fuck. They don't care about the kids. They just care about trolling Christians and pissing them off and trying to be smart asses like, look, I told you so. And also we're not bad people because we're all about compassion and justice. Well, sending people you don't like semen-filled socks is not compassion, amongst the many other pranks they've done. And I'm sorry, it's just I gotta call bullshit here. I'm probably gonna chime in on a few more points, but I just have to say, I've listened to this and I took my time to really listen to this stuff again and again and think about it as open-mindedly as possible. And I'm 100% solid on standing on what I say. Like, this is just how it is. I'm not trying to shape facts to make them what I want. I would love to have all the people from the Satanic Temple come on over to the, actually being Satanists, but that's not the case. They obviously don't even have the makings of a Satanist. Because, like I said, there's nothing satanic about what they're doing. They're just taking a name, dressing up in a costume to troll and antagonize and piss off Christians. And then just try to throw the blame at them. Like, look, we're not bad people. Are you against compassion and justice? Come on with the cockatoony bullshit. And once again, I have to continuously apologize about stuff. Like, I can be real, I don't have it going on. I don't even got privacy in my life. So I always hear cars, my dog leashes, I'm walking my dog, I'm out of breath. Now, like I'm at the park, you might hear kids, my life is shit right now. Now, I could go on with all the excuses and shit, but it doesn't matter. One thing Satanism's taught me, is it's about what you do with a situation, okay? And I'm proud of myself because in spite of the cards I've been dealt, I'm not bitching and complaining, I'm doing something about it. And I'm doing things in spite of my struggles, okay? So, yeah, you're gonna hear me being a little out of breath sometimes, or side noises and doing the show. My website went down, couldn't pay for that every month, and maybe I could have set that up better, but if you just knew my struggles, you'd probably be like, good fucking job. So anyway, patting myself on the back right there real quick. Let's move on. Okay, and what doesn't work for me is the reasoning about the kids, saying that it's okay, basically, that these kids are put in this dangerous situation unnecessarily. Because why? Because they want the religious rights of saying we're a religion, so therefore we have a right to be here, right? Remind you, they don't practice the religion. You don't have to. Memberships have been given away to plenty of people who have not the first thing to do with the religious aspect of it. They just want the rights of a religion to taunt people and to bait them in, and it works, okay? Because people are idiots, and that's what they do, okay? But this is like a case of group of idiots A antagonizing group of idiots B, okay? Critical thinking, logic, okay? We all, if you're on this show, you've heard about this. These are things we discuss. It doesn't take a rocket science to figure out that this is not Satanism. I mean, you cannot disregard everything about Satanism, make something that goes against it. I mean, like the herd conformity, the solipsism, the freaking all the compassion, I mean, disregarding about, reserving your love for those who deserve it. Like, this is what makes us Satanists. You take that away, you didn't leave anything left but the name to take. And they might feel like that's okay. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not accepting it. I don't gather that the people who actually are in the religion created by Anton LaVey, the church that he started, are not accepting it. And I did try. I listened. I did. I've listened again and again for every reason I could to try to see their point of view. And I did see their point of view. But I decided, like I said, it's all based off of that. That's the key problem there. They think that you just be whatever you want and call it a Satanist because it's atheistic. That's not so. Every religion has core dogma and principles except for the Satanic Temple because, again, it's not a religion. It's a political movement. But you're not going to get me fucking, to tell you that grass is blue or whatever. You know what I mean? The sky is green. No, like, I'm not going to do it, okay? I've listened to their side from a very well-spoken young man. I've listened to it again and again. And nothing that I hear there it makes me think any different. In fact, I just understand a lot better, like, where they're coming from. And it's from a point of complete disregard and disrespect to the actual religion of Satanism. I mean, if Anton LaVey were alive, he would be fucking pissed. I mean, livid about this shit. This is not something that he would be standing on or in support of, okay? Let's make that clear. And neither should you. I mean, at least Christians do what they do because they have a belief system, and it's different. What they're doing is just an outright disrespect to Satanism simply because they feel like, they can. I don't know, honestly, maybe the Church of Satan should sue them and make them change. Like, I don't know if that's even something you can do, but I mean, like, if I see you in the street and you tell me you're a member of the Satanic Temple, don't expect that we're going to be friends, okay? It's not going to happen. Matter of fact, it's going to be quite the opposite. I'm going to start getting antagonistic and be pissed because you're fucking misrepresenting our religion, my religion, everything that we're about, and using it disrespectfully just to further your own agenda. So I'm sorry, but like, no, fuck you. Like, that's not cool, okay? And I'm not accepting of it, and nothing I heard changes my mind. You continue to, make your own points. I would love to hear anybody's feedback on how you guys feel about this. But I know I'm not the only one, as a matter of fact, because there's a whole reason we did this show, and it's because I kept hearing this message again and again. And I kind of get, to the point it does piss me off. And I'm like, well, let me try to understand this demon, right? Let's figure out what's going on here. Maybe they got a point, because, like I said, it would be cool to me to have a lot of Satanists out there. I wish we were not so rare. But this is just not Satanism. I'm sorry. And a business as well, okay? So it's like getting into the points of the schisms and confidentiality agreements. You heard what he said if you listened, and I did as well. But no, Anton LaVey did not do a 180 backflip. When he created Satanism, it was years before he put out the Satanic Bible. It didn't come out until several years later. And it hasn't changed. I mean, I know they changed a forward or two, but the Satanic Bible has not changed at all since this came out. They don't even have a canon for the Satanic Temple. It just simply has a suggested reading list of books that I've mentioned of Satanism. That's it. We have a large canon of books from not just one author, but several, and most of which are people who actually knew Anton LaVey himself. But even I myself have written a book on Satanism, and I've never met anybody from the Church of Satan. But that's the thing about it, being an individualistic religion. I don't need anybody's fucking approval. Like, if the Church of Satan don't like me, you know, fuck them. I'm okay. All right. It doesn't bother me at all, because my life is still my life. My life is not going to change any from what it is. Now, if I get into the Church of Satan and we get along and I make a lot of friends that have like-minded views and stuff, that's great. My life gets better. But if they don't, my life's still my life. That's the power of individualism. Okay. That's what Satanism is about. Not seeking approval. And again, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm listening to stuff and it's just like, I don't know why it does. It pisses me off. Like, I feel like it's blatantly disrespectful to Satanism. Especially, like, even admit it's really made to be something that everybody could agree on, right? For the herd to agree on. This is a case of they're trying to fit in with the sheep, okay? That's not what wolves do. We don't try to blend in with the sheep, okay? We do our own thing. We know we've already discussed this. So I don't feel like there's any need to get into that part again. And again, this is not effective, okay? And even if a piece of legislator or two had been changed here or there about some minor shit, because it wouldn't have been nothing huge or we'd have known about it, but at the end of the day, all it's really doing is pushing a new satanic panic, because it's doing exactly what I said. It's riling up Christians and it's making them double down and say, hey, look, we need more Jesus out there, because look, Satanists are real. They're here. They're actually here, people calling themselves Satanists in groups. You think that makes any of them change their mind and say, oh, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't try to push our religion on people, and maybe we shouldn't try to put our religion in schools, because if we do that, we got to let them in too. No, it doesn't do that. It makes them double down their efforts. And there are a lot more of them than there are of you. And I say you because it's not an us, okay? This is a you thing. That's why the Church of Satan, being collected people who are critical thinkers, who are intelligent people, who actually put thought into what they do and don't just do it, you know, they have a very good system in place for a fucking reason, okay? And this just tries to countermand everything that they're doing. So of course they're pissed off. I'm not no 50-year-old boomer Satanist that's pissed off. No, I'm fucking 1 year into Satanism and pissed off. And if you're a Satanist, you should be too. Yeah, with this is just somebody who has some money and was able to put together some stuff and just did whatever the fuck they wanted, okay? Now, I do that from my Satanism. Like I said, I use spellcraft in my satanic rituals, and I do things differently, okay? But it's all within the context of Satanism. It doesn't contradict Satanism. That's the difference. If what you're doing contradicts the core principles of Satanism, you got a problem. If you want to be a Satanist. Now, I'm sure there's probably some room for things to be slightly different here and there, you know what I mean? But if your idea of Satanism is trying to change the world, well, that's solipsism, okay? And that goes against the core tenets of Satanism. Not only is it foolish, but it's not what Satanism is about. Now, could you get away with that personally? Sure. If you want to try to change the world, if that makes you happy, I mean, under that precept, that's fine. But when you start trying to tell everybody else that that is their duty as a Satanist, you got a problem, because you're wrong. And this is just that to the 10th degree, you know? And why does it bother me so much? I don't know. Maybe because I get tired of freaking seeing the Satanic Temple everywhere misrepresenting my religion, making me look like a fucking idiot, because I'm sorry, that's what they look like out there. There's a bunch of fucking idiots. And for the most part, that's what they are, okay? Now, it's built like a corporate structure. And so, like any corporation, they get a few smart guys to be their leaders. And, you know, Church of Satan does this too. You know, if you want to be a priest in the Church of Satan, that's what it is before you can really speak for the Church of Satan. And I'm sure they have things that you have to go through. It's just smart to put, some people who are skilled at these types of discussions, better than me. I mean, Dominic's obviously a smart guy. He conveys very well their side of the story. I don't think there's any more questions to ask. I asked everything I could pretty much think of except for about the things that he wasn't willing to discuss, which is abortion, which is a whole nother issue we haven't even broke into. But if you want to know about that, for me personally, I feel like that's fucking sick, okay? I'm not for abortion. I feel like abortion should be restricted. I don't think it needs to be abolished completely, but it doesn't need to be just used as a second form of birth control. Nowadays, you got women out there getting pregnant just because they don't feel like having a baby for whatever reason. They don't want to ruin their body. They're too young, or they didn't like the guy. It didn't work. I didn't want to go kill this fucking baby. And to me, I'm sorry. Especially when you got a perfectly good dad who's willing to raise that kid. And I've seen it many times. It's happened to me. And so, yeah, it's something I feel a bit strongly about because I'm personally been affected by it. But I also understand for women with health situations or cases of rape, there's circumstances. There's times when I do think that women should be able to have an abortion. But I do think it needs to have some restrictions because it's been too open. And again, this is just my personal opinion. Can you be a Satanist and disagree with me on that? Sure, you can, 100%. And we're going to be okay as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to hate you because your opinion is different on that. But to go out there and say that abortion is a satanic ritual and therefore part of their religious right, like, fuck you, man. That misrepresents me fucking to the fullest. And yeah, that pisses me off. And I feel like I have a right to be pissed off there. And again, if I feel like if you're a Satanist, you should be pissed off about this too. I mean, I can't really decide who's worse, the Christians or the Satanic Temple. Be honest with you, I'm kind of leaning towards the Satanic Temple. Like if I had to put a list of public enemies, number one up there, I think Satanic Temple would probably be at the top of that list, right there above Christianity. Because at least Christianity is doing what they've been doing. This is personal. They're coming after our religion and trying to make it what it ain't. They're trying to destroy everything about our religion and have the nerve to call it Satanism. Like, no, fuck you. And as far as NDAs go, I know that they have a copyright on the logo of the Church of Satan in the name, but they don't give a damn about me doing this podcast. I don't need to sign no papers. They know about it. I've told them about it, and not once have they been like, oh, you can't do that unless you're one. I'm not even a member. And it's cool because I actually represent what Satanism is about. I understand what Satanism is about. And if I'm not sure, I do the research to find out. And I'm not out here misrepresenting Satanism. They got no problem with that. Now, do you have to sign NDAs when you become a priest or anything? I don't know. I don't think so, because I've seen a couple interviews on Facebook from ex-members of the COS, or at least claim to be ex-members of the COS. Not anything I can verify, but who have said that they experienced something in ritual that made them feel like the devil was real and they were scared, and the pussies, you ask me. But they had the right to talk about it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm not allowed to talk about this, because I signed some paper. I mean, could they? I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure. I guess it could be. But if I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement about my religion, like, that's a red flag anyway, right there in itself. And as to the issue of the animosity being one-sided, like, yeah, we don't really think about them much. That's probably where the animosity comes from. Maybe if they had bothered to hold some of Satanism in regard when they were trying to create their club, maybe all the animosity wouldn't be there. But like I said, it was completely thrown out the fucking window. But yet you have to take the name of the religion that these people have worked to build, for years. And they got a right to be pissed off. Like, honestly, I feel like you guys should be ashamed of yourself. Like, how can you call yourself a Satanist when everything that you're doing is against Satanism? and then think that Satanists are not supposed to be pissed off. And it's not just the Church of Satan, it's the real Satanists. Who wants to be tied in with this left-wing political bullshit? Nothing but left-wing political people. That's it. And Satanism is so much more than that. There are people from other countries. The whole world isn't Democrat or Republic. And if the world ends today, civilization-wise, and politics goes out the window, what have you got left if you're a member of the Temple of Satan? Fucking nothing. But if you're a Satanist, it doesn't affect your religion at all. That's just more proof it's not a religion. It is a political group and a business. And as far as saying, we don't think about them at all, and they maybe there's tons of problems in the world, they should get out there and do something and work on it. Okay, that's not our job. That's not our business. That's not what we're about. We are a religion for the self, about self-deification, a religion about finding out who you really are as an individual and being that person to the best of your ability, being the best person in that capacity and doing what makes you happy. And we also recognize that you can grind your gears to the world until your death and still not change the whole world. People have had major effects on the world, but they still haven't changed the world in its completely. It's insane to think that you can do that. No matter how brilliant your idea is, no matter how right you can be on the subject, there's always going to be some idiot out there who disagrees. Groups of them. And it's foolish to think otherwise. And sorry, we're not getting on that foolish boat, because we are critical thinkers and we understand this. So it's not for us as Satanists to try to change the world to fit us. We're to change ourselves to fit this world in the way that makes us happiest, if that makes sense. And for Dominic, why he said, I listened to him time after time, I listened to this, why he was saying why he didn't want to join the Church of Satan, because he thinks this is what's wrong with it. But it's no, this is what's right with it. It's just, it's not for you. I'm sorry, but you're just not a Satanist. Accept it. No matter how hard you might want to be, you don't have it in you. Okay, you got herd mentality, solipsism, you don't know how to reserve your love for the deserving. You try to pass it out to the ingrates out there, and that's not what we're about. You're just not a Satanist. You might understand Satanism. You might have played with it as a teenager, but I'm sorry, you're not a Satanist. And I realize it's not going to make him change and stop calling himself a Satanist. It's not going to make the Satanic Temple change. I would be an idiot to think so. But I want everybody out there listening to understand this, so we can, we can all understand and grow from this, because that's what we're about. We're trying to understand the world as it is. And if you're listening to this, you've heard their side of the story, and, make your own judgments on it, by all means. I don't ask you to take my word for it. That's why I wanted somebody here to get their side out there, because it's not all about just what I say. And like I said, you don't have to agree with me. I mean, I hope you do. But at the end of the day, you're a fucking Satanist, man. Question everything. Even me and Anton LaVey himself. That's what's beautiful about Satanism. And it's not how the Catholics felt about the Protestants, because they were actually, like I said, the same religion. This is not, okay? This is people who are not Satanists, but they got into it a little bit, heard about it or whatever, and they're like, oh, what is this thing? And then they're like, oh, I don't know. So they got something totally else going on, because for some reason they want to be Satanists. Probably because of all the work that's been done by LaVey and the Church of Satan, Magister Frost, and Magister Bill M. and the rest of them. These people have been putting in actual real work for years to get this religion established. No, we're not coming over to your club, and I'm sure there's plenty of room, because you guys will let anybody in. One thing I love about the Church of Satanism is we are an elitist society. You have to earn your space within the Church of Satan. We don't give that shit away. They don't give that shit away, I should say, because again, I'm still not a member, but some already discussed it. That's just for my personal reasons. It'll come in its due time. And you know what? If I apply and for whatever reason they don't like me and what I'm about, like I said, it's not going to affect my Satanism, nothing. And it shouldn't affect yours. You can be a Satanist your whole life and never become a member of the Church of Satan. And that's A-okay. I wouldn't see why you wouldn't want to. And if it comes down to the money, okay, it's worth it. You break it down, how long are you going to be into the church? And mathematically, it's like you're literally paying like nothing over time. But again, the reason for that fee is to keep out people who just don't have what it takes to be a Satanist. If you're not dedicated enough to invest that much money, you're not serious enough about your religion to be a member. If you don't have the money to spend, you're not doing something right in your life, and you make some adjustments. That's what I'm doing, because I haven't been doing shit right in my life where I have that money to spend right now. And that's being a little hard on myself, because some of the shit's not my fault. But I'm not even going to sit here and get into all that. I'm not even going to sit here and try to justify it. I'm just, everything comes in its due time. It's okay to be patient about that and do it when the time is right for you. That's perfectly fine. Like, the Church of Satan is not going anywhere. It's been around for a long time. About 6 times as long as this Satanic Temple. And I don't see it going anywhere. I don't care if they outlaw the religion. We're still going to be here. And we're growing. We're never going to be big. We don't want to be. We don't want everybody to join. There's not a lot of room over here. Because we don't want weaklings. We don't want idiots. We don't want sheep. If you're a sheep, maybe you should go to the TST. They seem to have plenty of room in their flock for you. And when I asked him that question, Dominic gave a good answer. Like, yeah, he does believe you should do the work. Okay, but if you're going to be a Satanist in the Church of Satan, I guarantee you're going to do the work. They ask you questions. They don't just, you're going to know some shit, or you're not going to make it in. Maybe the TST should do their work. And maybe they wouldn't have, but they don't want to, because that's not it. They're, like I said, they're not there for the elite. They're there for the masses, the sheep, and they'll take any loser who wants to be part of something. And they don't even care if you believe in what they're about. I mean, if you're not even taking yourself seriously, why should anybody else? That's how I feel. And again, back to this thing where he's talking about what they have gotten done in the federal courts. What the Church of Satan done in the federal courts? They got recognized as an actual religion in church. It's been recognized by the government for a long time. Even back in the 60s, the government recognized it as a religion because of what the Church of Satan has done. And honestly, it's like, how dare they be so disrespectful to what they built? I have to say they, because I didn't build it. I might be part of it now, but I didn't build this religion. But they did. And the only reason that they're wanting to tag on this Satanism to their name as to their political party is because of that recognition from the federal government that the Church of Satan, the group that they so badly are disrespecting, established. I mean, how fucked up can you be? Like, you riding on the coattail of the man that you're talking shit about. I mean, really? When you sit there and say this is Satanism and then listen to this bullshit that is not Satanism, it's like gangs, okay? You know how gangs have, you go misrepresenting a gang saying you're a blood and you don't know blood shit, you don't do blood shit, and you don't have, you ain't a blood. They'll fucking cut your tattoos out. They'll burn them motherfuckers off, and lucky they don't kill you. And that goes for any of the other gangs out there, fucking the Crips, any of the Serranos and the Norteños and fucking the Aryans and the Gangsta Disciples, all of them. Like, they don't play about that shit. And I mean, I really don't feel like we should be any different. Basically, that's what it comes down to. Like, if you see somebody from the Satanic Temple calling themselves Satanism, they're false claiming. And you should be just as pissed off as if you was a Crip and you went out there and seen somebody out there claiming to be a Crip that had nothing to do with being a Crip, Matter of fact, quite the opposite. That's really how I feel about this. That's my conclusion. That's what all this has led me to believe. If anybody has anything different or thinks that I've got anything wrong, I'd love to hear it. I'm definitely open for discussion, but at the end of the day, I think this is the last thing I'm going to say about the interview. It's just false claiming. That's all it is. It's a political group in a business capitalizing on people who are too weak to think for themselves, too weak to stand alone, and that need to be a part of something to feel validated. They need to have a big group hug. They can't hack being a Satanist because Satanism requires a lot of isolation. It requires being a part of the smallest religion in the world. It can be hard. And matter of fact, I got a whole episode about that, I do believe. I know I've got some writings about it, and that's just part of being a Satanist. And if you can't hack that, I'm sorry, you just don't have what it takes. And that's okay. Doesn't mean you're a shitty person. But don't call yourself a Satanist. As simple as that. I mean, that is it. And why are we pissed off about that? Like, I done said it a bunch. There's a bunch of reasons for it. If you want to do a parody religion, fine. But don't call yourself a fucking Satanist and do a parody religion, because that's going to piss us Satanists off. And, I mean, if you do, just know that's how I feel about it. And you're going to be wrong for it. I mean, like, can you do something that's wrong? Sure. People do it every day. But I'm still going to call it what it is. And that's really all I'm here for. You know, like, I'm not a judge and a jury here. It's not like my decision has any effect on anything that they're doing at all. But, you know, something's been on my mind for a long time. And I reached out, and I'm fortunate that this young man reached out and was glad to talk about his religion. I did. I listened to it hard. And the more I listened to it, again and again, I just started getting more and more pissed off about the answers, you know, because it's just like, how disrespectful can you really be to the religion, you know? Like, I mean, it's said in a respectful way, but you can be respectful while being disrespectful to somebody, if you know what I mean. You know, I'm not saying he's disrespectful to me, he's disrespecting my religion. And it's not intentional. Well, no, it is intentional, okay? Because you just hear the complete disregard for our religion. Like, they intentionally don't give a fuck. But, we are real. We might be a small group, but we Satanists, we're real and we're here. And you're not part of us. And yes, it pisses us off. And I didn't just jump on this bandwagon because I seen other members are pissed off. I started to get pissed off, and I started to write this episode, and I was like, you know what? But that's just not fair. Let's see if anybody wants to speak up on it. And, you know, at first I was like, I wanted to come real aggressive about it. But I'm like, no, you know what? Like, let's be friendly here. Let's play nice. And I want to get the other side of the story. I did want to hear it. And I listened with an open mind. Like, you know, thinking, you know, I've been surprised before. But I was surprised with some of the answers. But I'm not surprised in the end result. After, like I said, after listening to this over and over again, same conclusion. And I don't really have anything more to add to that. I know I said we were going to get into their 7 fundamental tenets and all that. I think we discussed the ones that actually have something to do with Satanism, and I don't think it's really worth discussing any further at this point. I think every point has been made, and at the end of the day, they're fucking irrelevant. The only thing we needed to discuss was about the point that they're really just there to be something like the 10 Commandments, but modernized to fit the time. Like I said, this isn't modern Satanism. This is a modern form of Christianity, calling itself Satanism because of all the reasons I stated before. Not to mention that Malcolm, Jerry, Kevin, Soling, them, they don't have what it takes to create something substantial of their own. If this religion would have been started without Anton LaVey being around, and then they would first of all, they wouldn't have had nothing to come out with on their own, because they wouldn't have anything to bite from. But if they would have tried this before, it wouldn't even gotten near as far. Because of the work that they've done, they've made it okay to be a Satanism. They made Satanism grow, put it out there. And yeah, even though we are the smallest religion in the world, there is a bit of, I don't know, like swagger about a Satanism. Like, I'm proud of my Satanism. I am. It's one thing. It is kind of cool fucking religion to have. Like, I've had people just straight up be like, what is that you're wearing? Ain't that the devil thing? And when you're like, yeah, I'm a Satanist. And I've seen people like gangster motherfuckers be like, oh shit, I don't fuck with you, man. I'm scared of you. You know what I mean? That's a little cool. Okay, I'll give you that. But there's just no substance there to these tenets, and it's not worth discussing. Okay, it's trash. You can wipe your ass with it just like you can roll a joint out of them 10 commandments, and that's about all it's good for. And that's all I've got to say about that. Okay, in conclusion, I'm very thankful for Dominic for doing this interview. And the questions, the conversation, it's good to talk to somebody who has some understanding of Satanism and speak about things related to Satanism. But at the end of the day, for me, my opinion is still unchanged. That this is not Satanism. It's not okay to just put the title of Satanism on whatever you want to and then say, oh, it's okay because it's non-theistic, right? So therefore, it doesn't really matter. It's not right to me. Now, yeah, sure. There's not any law against it, I don't guess. You're not going to go to jail for that. But does it make it right? In my opinion, no. And if you are a member of the Satanic Temple, in my opinion, you're not a Satanist. You have to sacrifice your Satanism. You have to sacrifice your individuality. You have to join a herd. And you have to try to change the world foolishly, wasting your time, because it's not going to just do away with Christianity. It's not going to change their minds. It's not going to make them see the error in their ways. And if anything, it's just going to make things worse. It's going to further inspire them to try harder. That's why the Church of Satan keeps everything low key. They don't want to provoke everybody. This to me is more akin to like a bunch of children just getting together and being like, let's do the most aggravating, provocative stuff we can do for shock factor, right? Okay, well, let's be Satanists. And that's about the only thing that they want from Satanism that actually has anything to do with Satanism. But this is just, again, my opinion. Who am I? I am Satan Wolf. I'm nobody. I'm just a Satanist. One of many. I'm not even a registered member of the Church of Satan. You have the right to disagree. But I hope that if you've listened to all 3 of these episodes and, you will make your own opinion. If Dominic or the Temple of Satan wants to add anything, because I feel like that'd be fair, as I've had so much to say after the fact. I mean, I'd be glad to include it in a future episode. And I hope you listen to that too. And again, form your own opinion. I think it's almost a shame here. It's like this young man could have been a good Satanist. He has a bit of knowledge about him, but I guess his values just don't align with the Church of Satan. It doesn't align with the religion of Satanism. But just going and starting something that doesn't have anything to do with it, and it doesn't really make that Satanism. That's not the satanic way to me. Because we do have a clear, defined religion that is Satanism, and being adversarial, and it's not no rules and just challenge everything. No, it's so much more than that. And some people just miss the point. Maybe it's just not what they wanted it to be, and it's like they're disappointed, but they were just excited about being called a Satanist. I don't know. For me, I wasn't. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I want to be a Satanist. I discovered it and I was like, oh, this actually aligns with how I think and feel about things. And if you pick up the Satanic Bible and it doesn't align with you, then you're not a Satanist. It's okay. There's plenty of other things you can do with your life. But again, this is just my thoughts, feelings, opinions. I do plenty of research on this all the time. And I just haven't heard anything to change my mind. In fact, like I said, I listened to this over and over, and the more I listened to it, the more it just kind of seemed more disrespectful to Satanism. I don't know. How do you guys think and feel about that? Let me know. Yeah, the website is down currently. It's going to be a little while before it gets back up. I got to get some personal things in order. And maybe as the podcast grows and my audience grows, and it might be more worthwhile to pay that money every month. But in the meantime, you can reach me at satanwolf1369@gmail.com. It's still a valid way to reach me. I check my emails regularly and I do respond. And we can go from there. But I would love to hear what you guys think. And with all due respect, I'm sorry, I just disagree. I don't see this as Satanism. And that's my final verdict. And I'll get back to the regular parts of the show, like the satanic verse of the day and all that on the next episode. But I think for now, I want to conclude with just wrapping this up because of longevity's sake. And I'm going to be reading an essay about the myth of satanic community and why it's impossible, which is also relevant to this topic, but that'll be on the next episode. Until next time, make critical thinking forever guide your path. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in hell. We take this night our rightful dues, and trespass not on passive pain. Lead us unto temptation, and deliver us from false piety. For this is thy kingdom, power, and glory, forever and ever.
SatanWolf.com.
SatanWolf.com.
Daily dose of Satanism.